Um, for the context of any fire district, but we'll use Pleasant Hill Goshen Fire and Rescue because that's where my examples are from. Um, you got to have map products available easily for the actual crews to use on the response to you know, day-to-day operations. So for us, if we were to get dispatched to a fire, for example, we're going to get dispatched to a fire that's on, say, Hoya Lane. Dispatch is going to tell us there's a structure fire. They're going to give us the address. They're going to say it's on Hoya, and they're going to tell us that we're going to, basically, if we want to use a map book, they'll actually tell us in the dispatch that it's going to be on map page, whatever the number is. I believe in this case, my example is 16. And what that is they've basically, we've created a map book for them, and we've basically defined certain pages. We've defined the geographic extent of certain pages using what's called an index layer. And so the index layer basically just looks like basically you'll see there's an index layer on there that says this is where the map page is. It's showing this particular area, and so the dispatch basically uses essentially a select by location where they say that the pinpoint of where they've identified that the emergency is. In this case, the address that's on Hoya Lane. In this case, they're going to say give us the map page that this is under, and then they'll tell that to us so that we know as we're getting into the engine that we need to flip to map page G07, G016 or whatever it is, and pull up the map and get an idea of where we're going to and identify the specific house that we're going to. Um, this is the 21st century, so we got access to other things as well, like Google Maps and other stuff that can help route us. And that stuff works great. But the thing that's nice about the paper map books is that they're not subject to, requiring an internet connection or anything like that. They are, basically guaranteed to work. And then the information's been verified. Google Maps, especially in rural areas, can not be as accurate as you'd like it to be. And on an emergency, situation, it's a very big deal, especially on like a house fire, to miss this and go to the wrong spot. Like that's very, very, very bad. You do not want to have that happen. So we may use Google Maps uh, as a tool that we use to navigate to places like this, but we're going to make sure that we have a physical map page as well that we can use to verify the Google Maps information and then get additional information as well. Um, Super important to have very accurate data in there. Ease of use, quick use, they're super important for making this a successful product type. We also have, I'm going to show you, when we switch over to the other products, some other things that we use: topographic maps, overview maps for the district, and special purpose map products. So for that one, I'll show you our specific topographic map of Mount Pisgah. You can see here, this is an example of a book, map book page, which I got the number wrong. It looks like this is going to be G018, not G016. But this is a map book page for Pleasant Hill Goshen Fire and Rescue. And this shows, it's relatively basic and stripped down for ease of use so that, it's very clear. You can see exactly where the different driveways are and different, address points are. But here's Hoyle Lane right here. And we can see that it's off of CV Loop Road. So, this does presuppose some geographic knowledge about the fire district, but that's something that we train our newer folks, especially anyone who's going to be driving or in command of a response crew, to be familiar with. So basically, we can look on here, we can find our specific address that we want to go to on Hoyle Lane, and this sees our way to get in, our driveway, and how exactly we're going to get to it, and deals with that there. This is a 8.5 by 11 normal size product when it's printed. So this will, be in an actual book of these. There's about for our two areas we respond in, Goshen and Pleasant Hill. There's I think 155 pages. So we just have a binder with these in there in those protective plastic sheets, and you just flip to the appropriate page, and there's your information right there. We'll also look at the Mount Pisgah page that we've got here. So this is the map book page for Mount Pisgah. It's got the topographic, contour lines on there. So this has 40-foot contours. This is also an 8.5 by 11. This page here. It's also got locations of gates, and it's got these river miles over here, as well as power lines. Because if anyone's ever hiked on Mount Pisgah, the power lines are kind of a prominent geographic feature on the mountain. So we've actually been able to use this to help locate people. Maybe they don't know that they're on, which trail they're on necessarily or how far they are on the trail, but they do know that they're underneath some power lines. So that helps us narrow down exactly where they are. We can go and find them using that. And here is one of our pages for a new product series that we're in the process of creating. This is the basically our 1 to 24,000 scale topographic map series. And these are printed on architectural C, which is 1.5 feet by 2 feet. And these are, larger maps, so they're a little bit harder to see the detail on when you look at them on a computer screen here, since they're not fully zoomed in. But this will also show Mount Pisgah right here. These map pages have 20-foot contours, which I'm a much bigger fan of. So you can see you actually get much more detail on the contours of Mount Pisgah here. Some of it still a work in progress, so we still need to add the trails onto Mount Pisgah and some other things like that. But this has got all of our roads labeled. I'll see if I can give it a shot to zoom in on Hoya. You can see what that looks like on this. Yeah, so here is going to be Hoya right here. You can see these houses right here. Fortunately, at this scale, on this size paper, on this scale, we're not able to display actual address numbers. That would be make this whole thing pretty illegible and difficult to read. But you can definitely see the use for a product like this is, let's say that we have, and I'll scroll over to a different area. This green area is within our fire district boundaries for Goshen Fire District here. We have houses up here accessed off of Dillard Road. And if we zoom in a little bit and we look at, say, Mount Baldy Lane up here, you can see that we've got some houses on Mount Baldy Lane. And if you had a fire that started down in this area, given the right conditions, a fire like that could easily spread up into this area and threaten homes in our fire district. But it's really important when a situation like that happens that you have a big overview map that actually shows where you can see all that area, because as you saw from looking at the map pages have to be at a really, 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 really zoomed in so that we can get a very, clear picture of all the driveways and the, house numbers and things like that. For this map, the purpose of this map is more to look at this and be able to see the contours and see the whole big picture so that we can think about, okay, well, if we have a fire we have a wind out of the north and a fire that started up here, we've got some, steep topography up here that we'd expect the fire to come up. So we may need to, potentially look at this house over here being threatened, but also looking and seeing that, well, we have houses on Marcy Lane, we have houses on this east side of Redtail Lane over here, and helping to, get a good picture of that particular area and identify exactly how much risk we carry with, something going on like that. Now, before we move on, this is the index page right here. So this shows which of the areas are going to be dispatched on which map page. So we were looking at Hoya Lane over here, an address up here. Map page G018 covers this area right here. If you needed to look farther south, you'd have to go to map page G027 down here and look at this over here. This is the most difficult part of creating the map book itself, is going in and creating this index page to make sure that you have all the areas covered and then making these little cutouts where needed so that everything that appears on the same road in a certain area is captured on the same page. It's a little bit easier for properly using the books, and it makes it easier for the firefighters when they're actually using these things out in the real world.